Hello, hello, hello. There's a very beautiful energy today. I see these small birds just flocking around, making like really, almost like dance moves. Really, really special. It's like they're trying to hover or something. Very, very interesting. I don't know if you've seen that before. See if I get some footage after. We'll see. So what we felt inspired that they want to talk about Jesus and them, is this: when you have gone through enough, just to share a little bit of what's to come for the beings that do decide to take this on as their path, because this is a very scientific path, and it is in your own discovery of who you are through this process. It is a very feminine way of transferring knowledge, which has to do with the feeler, which means that we are not only working with the intellect, we are working with the feeler as well, the body. So both the mind and the body needs to be, and of course all the other bodies, if you are under the using these terminologies that beings are using from the dualistic perspective, which is like the spiritual body and all of these other bodies, we are correcting some of that. We're coming through with some corrections about that. That's more true energetically, and that is that there is you, the soul, which is coming from the top of the head down, and you connect with Gaia. Depending on the openness of the filtering mechanisms all the way down, depends on your experience here. And so if you have beliefs in certain things, that influences what you see around you. And you have the feeler. The feeler is the body and Gaia. These are the main two energies that we are all working with. And then there are many other distortions on top of that, that is sort of distorting people's true perception of these two energies. That's really what it is. And these two energies inside are mirrored outside in the masculine and the feminine. We call that the knower and the feeler, because the knower is connected to the soul. It's who you are. It's the one that's supposed to know. Sometimes we pretend that we have amnesia during our awakening process, but that is the one that is supposed to know this game, the one that we are sparking some action in right now. And the body, which is the feminine, which some beings usually are overly identified with their body. That's usually the traditional woman. And then you have the typical traditional man that is overly identified with being a masculine, meaning projecting their feminine onto the partner and opposite. So they are sort of working in that configuration. There is nothing wrong, there is nothing higher or lower spiritually, but it does take more awareness in order to stay true to your self-directionality between the knower and the feeler in connection with another. But that is a choice. We all learn in different ways as a soul. You can also learn with the knower and the feeler. We highly recommend that you learn that before you get into a partnership, because there might be things that you are doing in your partnership to correct energy And if you're both on that path, great, then you can work together. But if not, then that can create friction. And so sometimes it is, we would say, we see less conflict learning this individually first and then stepping into. That's what we see in general. But you are free to choose the path for you that you feel best called to walk. Just know to connect to the right signals. Because when we were in a dualistic perspective, there can be a lot of confusion energies that can confuse this pure energy. And the only thing that truly worked for us was to align to what the body felt was the most harmonious to do. And not that it's always like that. Sometimes I've had bad habits that I've had to inject discipline. It does take discipline to correct your energy and get it flowing in the right direction again after so much mistraining that we have had as humans on this planet. We are speaking for Kenneth because we are feeling his experience, so we know now with consciousness what this is about. Oh. Let's get back to the trail. I lost the trail a little bit. Yeah, really, I think they're finding some of these upward spirals and they're sort of following them or something. That's what it seems like. These pockets of air that it's just about this time that they sort of like drift up. We have done some paragliding. That was a lot of fun. And this is the thing. Including the body's observations. Including the feeler's observations as something that's important is important. Because many are devaluing what they're feeling. So they're overly dominate in the masculine, sort of dominating the body internally. And then they have some mirror going on outside, perhaps in a relationship, to mirror that. This is so important to look at, so that you get to see what you're doing under the hood, so to speak. Because those are these hidden motives that keeps you in Shadowland unless you are upfront and honest about it. Right? This is what we're asked. We're asked to be very authentic with one another. And align. That's the only thing that's worked, really, truly, is to align to this way. That's the most things. I've tried so many different things. Like I've tried ESP and EMDR and meditation, like all kinds of stuff. But the main thing that I find is the alignment to the right frequency. It's not just about listening to a frequency track. because that's made by people and they have a certain frequency. That's the frequency that you get. You get the frequency of the consciousness that made it. It doesn't matter if it sounds like, if it doesn't resonate full from the body. That is the main adjustment that we see for the human population. That you all care more about your body and that internal balance. And then you start to develop that. And then you take that balance when you're stable. Then you take that balance out in the world. That is what we are inviting. A training in that way of operating. The first thing that you can do to get started is to sign up for these 28 days of free consciousness shift, where this is the first time I officially channel Jesus. And the first three days I wasn't really sure what this was supposed to be, but he was guiding me. And so this is what it turned out to be, and it is just blossoming to more and more the more I align to these teachings. And it all stemmed from A Course in Miracles that had just grown and grown and grown within me to all of this. We love you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for honoring yourselves, honoring your body, honoring the wisdom of the body. The body has great wisdom that can be deciphered when the disidentification from all of the overly distorted masculine viewpoints have taken place. This is how we grow in consciousness. We anchor to our bodies. Once we are landed, meaning once we have filtered through the truth of the body and we have gone through and corrected all of the imbalances, when we have gone through our past, people that hurt us, perhaps we hurt them, all of those things, so that it's seen correctly from an energetic, truthfully place, and what you know from now forward. Because once you know, this was that cycle, you have to see the cycle. When you see the cycle, usually you go, I don't want to be in a cycle. That's like being a hamster wheel. Yeah, it's exactly like that. It's like a ride. And if you like the ride, keep going. That's simple. We love you, blessed beings. We'll talk to you again in the next one. Ciao.